Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got an interesting show for you. Yep, it turns out the Vols have upset a lot of folks, and this is going to be an interesting video. I'm going to show you a couple of YouTubers that are not happy with the Vols at all. This offseason, last year, kind of the momentum that we've got, it's not sitting well with some folks. Now, I'm going to show you these clips and things like that. It might upset you. It might trigger you. So if you're one of those people that's sensitive, this is not the video for you. All right. So the best thing for you to do,
just walk away.
Exactly. Just walk away. Listen to Humongous. Sometimes he puts out good advice, and just walk away and check out one of my next videos or something like that, where I'll talk about recruiting or something a little bit less controversial, because this is going to be interesting. Now, a couple of the teams that we've upset, one beat us last year. You wouldn't think he'd be upset at all. Another one we did beat, we hadn't beat him in a while, and it's really kind of, I think that whole fan base is upset. And it's understandable. I mean, look at the teams that we beat last year. You know, we beat Florida, we beat Alabama, we beat Pittsburgh, Clemson. Who am I leaving out? I don't know. We just won a lot of games. And it's kind of the way we won too. And then on top of it, we've been kind of celebrating the new offense and having the #1 offense in the country, and Josh Heupel and how he's kind of turned this thing around so quickly. You know, we were a team that was kind of left for dead 2 years ago. And to come back and go 7-6 and then 11-2 and to win in the fashion that he's done this has really, you know, it's ruffled feathers. You know, as much fun as we've had, a lot of teams, it's felt the opposite. So I thought I would show you some of these folks that aren't too happy with the Vols. But they're looking forward to this year in some respect. I think especially Alabama can't wait for this year, because I think they've just got a lot of anger. Look, Georgia took them out last year or two, and then Tennessee did, and LSU, and they're used to being at the very top. So having anybody beat them upsets them. So they're coming back with blood in their eye for this year against a lot of teams, but especially Tennessee.
You and old Josh Heupel bringing in all the hype. Y'all are the leading candidates to win the hype, the 2023 off-season hype train trophy. Another trophy that don't mean a thing. Just like y'all October 2022 October trophy. Don't mean nothing. But anyway, Tennessee Volunteers, Josh Heupel. After week 8, after you leave Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama, my Alabama Crimson Tide, will be 8-0. We'll be 8-0. And all you Tennessee fans can shut the hell up talking crazy about, oh, we beat y'all. We scored 52. Y'all can shut the hell up, because you damn sure won't do that shit in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to have a loss the 3rd week of October after you leave Bryant-Denny Stadium. And you will realize, probably before halftime, that you are no match for my Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah. There's a lot of animosity there. There's a lot of frustration from last year's game. And it was such an epic victory for the Vols, tearing down the goalpost, throwing it in the river and all that. And Alabama, you know, at first I think it bothered them, but because we haven't shut up about it, I think it's really upset them. And here's the nice thing. I like the fact that he's calling it out of, hey, we're going to whoop you. It's better to do that. You know, at least he's sticking his neck out and saying, you know what, we're going to whoop you. Now, granted, it's at Tuscaloosa. That's a huge help to them, just like Neyland Stadium was a huge help for us last year. But we'll see what happens. You know, they don't have their quarterback situation figured out. They brought in the backup quarterback from Notre Dame that had gotten benched and brought him in. I guess he's probably going to be the starter, because I don't think they're happy with Milroe or Ty Simpson. So they brought in Buckner. You know, we'll see what happens. Look, you know, it's Nick Saban. It's going to be a good team, okay? They're going to be good. The question is, can the Vols hang with them at Tuscaloosa? You know, we'll see. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I no longer have 2 guaranteed losses when I go through our schedule. I just don't. I feel like we can beat Alabama. I feel like we're capable of beating Georgia. And I've called for an upset this year at Neyland with Georgia. We'll see if it happens. They're going to be favored by 2 touchdowns. But, you know, we'll see what Joe Milton does. If Joe plays really well, we could be a very tough team to deal with. If he doesn't, we'll see. We could win 8 games instead of 9, 10, or 11. But Alabama's ready for some revenge. And look, Kangaroo Black's not the only person in Alabama that feels that way. There are hundreds of thousands of people in Alabama that cannot wait to get at the Vols.
Normally, I wouldn't pull for Tennessee if they was playing Iraq. It's just not in my nature. But going forward, I hope Tennessee don't lose a ball game. Because I want so bad for Tennessee to beat Georgia in whatever fashion they have to do it. I don't care if it's bad, good, ugly, in a hurry. I don't care. All right, beat Georgia, get your ass to Atlanta. Get your ass to Atlanta with a different officiating crew. The officiating crew determined the outcome of that ball game 100%. Alabama was never leaving Neyland Stadium with a win. They was not going to have it. That ain't a close ball game. That is not a close ball game without that officiating crew.
Because that game last year was quite upsetting, and Neyland Stadium clearly had an impact on those players. They said so. They said they were nervous, when they came out of that tunnel. They were like, hey, what is this? And it put kind of the fear into them. And had Bryce Young not played one of the greatest games of all time, and he really deserved to win the game, had he not done what he did, we'd have won by probably 3 touchdowns. That's just a fact. So this is going to be a great, fun year. We'll see how it goes. But it's so nice to be back in the ball game and have teams angry with us again. Instead of, being so polite, the Vols are such a quality team. It's just, yeah, we beat them by 30. But, that coach they've got, that Jeremy Pruitt's a fine fella. He's such a good coach. And, Pat, and then that Dooley fella, why'd y'all get rid of Dooley? He was such a good dude. We really liked him. Yeah, I bet you did. So there's Alabama. Now I'm going to show you another guy look, they won last year, and he's still mad. So let's see what Mr. Carolina Jackpot has to say. He actually did a video all about how upset he is about the Vols.
Really even a reason to play the season. It looks like everybody's just got it all figured out. They've just got it all mapped out, how everything's going to go, and we should just not even let toe meet leather this year for 3/4 of the teams in college football, because our goose is cooked, obviously, before it's even been put in the damn oven. I want to get into something that's kind of needled me a little bit the past couple of weeks. I've listened to it, and the more and more I've listened to it, the hotter and hotter I've got, and the more and more it's peckered me off, and I'm finally about ready to say something about it. I've watched a lot of YouTubers, a lot of them, a lot of podcasters, a lot of people just in sports media in general who are giving their predictions, win-loss predictions for teams, predictions on games and how things are going to go, how seasons are going to go. And one in particular is really chapping my rear end, and that's that South Carolina Tennessee game on September the 30th. Every prediction I hear, it's the same old thing. This is going to get ugly in a hurry. Josh Heupel's out for revenge. Tennessee might beat South Carolina by 50. All these people sit here and they'll spew this. None of them provide a valid football reason for why that's going to happen. They don't say, well, South Carolina's lost a lot off the back end of their defense, so Tennessee can probably expose that. Or, I think South Carolina may have trouble generating some pass rush on Joe Milton. Or I think South Carolina might not be able to tackle Jabari Smalls. Nothing. We don't have any of that. It's a revenge game. They beat them bad last year. Tennessee's going to return the favor times 2. It's just comical. It's very backwards thinking. It's very unimaginative prediction making, and it's failure to step out of the box.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Okay. First of all, don't you think that if South Carolina put that many points on them last year, that they might be capable of putting some points on them again? You think Tennessee shortened their defense up that much in a year? I kind of don't think so. Especially when you take into account South Carolina is bringing back a large amount of the key pieces off that offense. It's very backwards thinking, and you're not showing a lot of football intelligence when you are sitting here making these kind of predictions. You're just not.
How dare you!
I have not made a prediction on that game. I haven't done my prediction video on the Gamecocks, so you don't know which way I'm going to go on it.
I find that kind of interesting that he's not done that. You know, Kangaroo's coming out and saying, we're going to whoop you, all right? But Carolina's kind of hedging his bet a little bit. Now maybe he'll come out and say that South Carolina's going to sail on up to Neyland and do a little rear-end whooping. We'll see. One of the big problems that Carolina has, he's a little bit too honest about how he really feels. And that makes it a little bit tough because he's probably not all that confident about Carolina coming up and whooping up on Josh Heupel's offense and that Neyland Stadium situation. I will say this, South Carolina Stadium last year was electric. Man, they came to play, and they played well. Now, we had a bunch of political problems that occurred between our linebacker and our quarterback, getting into a fight. He got suspended, all that crap that happened. But they did win. They win convincingly. So why are we so confident? I don't know. I guess it's just because we beat up on so many quality clubs last year. And right after that Carolina game, we went in, sailed into Vanderbilt, who had just beaten Kentucky and Florida, and had some confidence and just beat them like a drum, and the defense didn't allow a point. Then we went and beat Clemson, a quality club with an SEC-level defense, handled them no problem, and that was that same crappy defense that we had all year. So what are we going to have this year with all these new incoming 4-stars, a 5-star, all these guys, transfer portal, and now we've had another year to get some quality depth. Look, we had to give up 13 scholarships the first year and then a bunch more the next year. You know, we were already getting ahead of all these scholarship reduction situations. Now we only got to give up 2 for the next 5 years each year. That's not that big a deal. It just isn't. So we're going to have quality depth, and we're going to continue to improve and get better. Okay. And we'll see how it all plays out. But I just feel really good about the Vols versus South Carolina. I think it is a revenge game. I think the crowd will be absolutely on fire to beat Carolina, and they're going to come into a situation that they're not comfortable with, and nor should they be. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be real rough. And I hope it's at 7 o'clock at night. That'll make it that much better. But anyway, let's let him continue.
You don't know which way I'm going to go on it. I will say this. I don't think the matchup favors South Carolina. It's a road game. It's a hostile environment, and it's a really good team they're playing. I don't think it favors them, but I'm not going to give you my official prediction on it, not right now.
I'm not in the mood.
I'm going to make you watch that video. But get your minds out of the gutter. Stop thinking that South Carolina's just going to show up to get blown out, because that's not going to happen. This series has been pretty hotly contested for the past 10 years or so. The past couple of years, the games have been blowouts. 2021, Tennessee blew us out. 2022, we blew Tennessee out. I think you're going to stop seeing blowouts, and I think you're going to go back to seeing good competitive games between these two. Stop thinking that South Carolina's going to show up just to get blown out on September the 30th, because you got another thing coming.
All right, folks, just a little excursion into some fun, little bit of smack talk between teams, fan bases. I enjoy that part of it. Look, I think Tennessee football is very important, and I take it very seriously, but it's also a tremendous form of entertainment. I enjoy the smack talk. I like the going back and forth. I like the YouTube stuff, and I just find it entertaining. Look, the enthusiasm that you're seeing from myself, other YouTubers, Vols fans, it's very authentic. We are pumped about what we're seeing with this football team. We think we have a very significant advantage at coaching against almost every other team. This offense, the speed that it goes at, and the way he spreads the field, it really knocks people off balance, and it's hard for them to deal with. And South Carolina was giving up points like crazy, even in that game where, things were going their way. It's hard to stop the Vols. The only team that was able to stop us last year was Georgia at Georgia, and that was it. Everybody else struggled against us big time, and some just couldn't do a thing with us. And I think we're going to continue to see that. And it might get worse as the years go by with the number one player in the country in Nico. We just got a 5-star wide receiver committed. We're loading up on 4-stars everywhere you look. We're getting that defense built back up. And if we have a strong defense, with Heupel's offense, with the quality players. Look, quarterback and wide receiver, we're going to get about whoever we want. That's just a fact. We want a 5-star quarterback, we're going to get one. We want a 5-star wide receiver, we're going to get them because that's where they want to come. They want to go to a place where they're going to get to show out. And if you want big numbers, if you want tons of touchdowns, you're going to come to Knoxville. You're coming to Miramar.
The elite, best of the best. We'll make you better.
Because we're going to make you better. And Josh Heupel's going to do that too. So anyway, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and all the shenanigans and all our opposing viewpoints that are out there. And of course, recruiting and all that good stuff. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. I'd appreciate it. And right over here's the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll love. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.